Welcome everyone to the Relationship Restoration Series. My name is Jodi Harman. I am your host of this series, and I'm so glad that you decided to join us today. Today we have a very special guest speaker with us. Her name is Annette, and she is coming live from Honolulu, Hawaii. Annette brings hope to families torn apart by three massive mistakes when caring for their aging, ill, and dying loved ones. Now, I know most of you are like, it's the holidays and we don't want to talk about dying and things like that. However, because this is a time when most families are coming together and we're spending time with older people and younger people and kids, and we're surrounded by extended family, I thought this was perfect to bring Annette here today. So she's going to teach us how to calm your nerves, listen to your skills, and have easy solutions to bring peace into your family in order to relax and enjoy the transition that sometimes is not fun, but we need to do, especially this time of year. And Annette encourages and satisfies her clients to be aware of their feelings as well as the intentional goals and strategies, because she herself has an active real estate agent for 45 years and a developer of shopping centers and 2 self-storage facilities. Wow, she does a lot. And 2 beautiful, loving adult children residential care home facilities in Living Moana and Caring Moana, which services the elderlies over in Honolulu. She began her coaching group sessions for over 30 years ago. And as a former elementary school teacher over in Hawaii, California, and Pennsylvania, she is definitely sharing her gifts and skills with us. She's been married for 47 years to the same man. Yay, good job, Annette.
Thank you.
She also travels around the world to visit her 3 grandchildren living in California and Singapore. So this time of life is just a really, this season that we're in is so fun. It's full of excitement and joy as we spend time together. And Annette has amazing situations that she's going to share with us, ranging from what happens when an elderly part of your, when an elderly parent, before they pass away, there's so many things that you have to think about: the finances, the miscommunication, the squabbling that happens between siblings, how it can actually tear a marriage apart when you're dealing with this. And we're just going to have an open, honest communication today about what you can do to maybe save yourself and your family and your children, your marriage, from some of the heartache that can happen during this difficult time in life. So welcome, Annette. I'm so glad you had time to join us.
Thank you so much, Jodi. I'm so excited to address this time because we're on the throes of it, right? You can see Thanksgiving is coming and then Christmas is coming and people are getting, oh my gosh, I have to get the Christmas cards out. I have to shop for my turkey. So it's a nerve-wracking time. And as a care home owner for over 17 years, I can really see the whole excitement mounting, but behind every little bit of joy is a little bit of frenzy.
Oh, I completely agree, which is why we're doing this, because there's so many families that are going through this. I mean, even myself, everybody's like, Mom, what are we having for dinner? And who's coming? And I'm like, I'm in charge of the guest list and the family, and then everybody has to get along. So,
exactly.
And I don't know about you, but we love everybody that comes and we love our family, but there's still some family drama that kind of tends to happen.
Oh, yes.
I know one of the biggest things that I had is trying to get my kids to interact with the older grandparents. And I know sometimes, like the grandparents are old and they don't interact as much. And so they sit on the couch or sit in a chair and they'll have adult conversations, but they just kind of end up looking around instead of interacting. And I want my kids, I'm like, go play with grandma, go talk to grandma, go share. And they just don't. So you're here today to help us bring in our older generation to help us, and we can learn from them, but then also show love and concern for them, and then help our teens and little kids interact with them better. So Annette, tell us a little bit about what you do on a daily basis in your business now, and just kind of give us a little bit of your background.
Okay, so I'm a teacher by training, and then I was also getting my real estate license for 43 years. I've been licensed.
Wow, that's great.
So I'm elderly myself. I have to put that little label on myself. But I want to say that I deal with a lot of families as they're making the largest decisions of their life to choose a home or to release a home, right?
Yeah.
And then about 20 years ago, my husband and I decided to turn our family home into a care home. And this is called an adult residential care facility that is licensed in Honolulu, Hawaii. So we have 16 residents. And when I think of the residents, I also think of their families.
Oh yeah.
I think of their auxiliary members like doctors, cousins, neighbors who come and visit. So it's not one person you're dealing with like a number or a bed. So it's a whole organic approach. And what I love to do in the home is to do the fun activities, the energy dances, the connection, the massages, the things that just get the fog out of our residents and their loneliness because they feel so detached.
Yeah. So on a daily basis, when you're doing that with them, what are some of the best ways if they're feeling lost and kind of in that fog? How could someone like me, or they're coming to my house for the holidays, whether they're staying just for a couple of hours to visit and enjoy the family and maybe have a dinner, or if they're actually coming to visit with me, what are some of the things that I would need to do to help them feel more at ease, relieve that loneliness and the maybe anxiety that they have with traveling, but what can I do to help them a little bit more?
Okay, that's a good question. Now, I just want to let you know that there's a range of people who are living. My oldest in the care home, first of all, is 107.
Wow.
I just came back from Japan for a whole month, and she looked at me and she said, "Long time no see."
Well, so she remembered you, so that's good.
She remembers me. She knows what we are doing. I had dinner last night with a 95-year-old man in Hawaii. He's going to Chicago to see the opera.
Wow.
In December. This is cold weather now, and he's 95, and he uses a walker. But he also does the stock market, and he also emails. So there's a whole range of capability and levels of cognitive as well as physical. Okay. So you have to kind of, number one, Jodi, read your elderly and think just because they're older in a certain age, that doesn't mean they're wearing diapers.
Right.
And I would say maybe 85% of them are.
Okay. And so, it's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing.
Right. And it shouldn't be embarrassing. Like we shouldn't make them embarrassed because of that.
Right. Right. We shouldn't make them embarrassed. And if I can get the message out, we shouldn't make them embarrassed because people have accidents and it's better to have it secured before there's a big mess. So one of those things is to say, how are you doing? Would you like to use the bathroom? So that's another, kind of housekeeping question.
Okay.
But a really fast thing is to think of what they did when they were younger and through different ages during this holiday time.
Okay.
Like, Mom, how did you celebrate Christmas? What did you like to cook? Or did you like to cook at all? Did you just like to wash dishes?
Yeah.
I mean, kind of go through the reminiscing because it jogs their long-term memory.
Okay.
And it also brings into a connection with people who are hearing it. So I like to do that little interview process. That's just kind of starts with trivia. How much did turkey cost in those days? Or what was your favorite thing to eat? Yeah. Or who was your first kiss? Things like that.
Yeah.
So just to get the juices going. And then the next thing I really recommend is, Mom or Dad or Auntie or Uncle, I am learning this system where energy just flows through the body so easily. And if you touch one part, if you're really keen, you can feel your feet. So is it okay if I gave you a hand massage?
Ooh, yeah.
And wouldn't you like it at any age?
I'm like, go for it.
Go for it. And what's your daughter or son's name, for instance?
My daughter is Camilla.
Camilla. Okay. So Camilla could say to Grandma, so Grandma, I have this really nice rose lotion. It smells good. Or lavender. Do you know, I'm studying all the pressure points of a hand. Is it okay if I practice on you? or
Oh,
just try this lavender, not to make them feel like, oh my gosh, they're disabled, they're handicapped, they can't give themselves their own massage, but Camilla wants to reach out to her grandma.
okay. Okay.
And that is, Jodi, I can't tell you, that's priceless.
Yeah.
And then as they massage, Camilla massages, to say, oh, I noticed there's a little owie here. How did you get that? And she says, oh, that's when I was climbing the tree and I got cut by a thorn. Or that's when, I broke my wrist because I had to do this. And then the conversation keeps flowing.
Okay.
And then, so the hand massage is really good. And then it can go, Camilla can say, is it okay if I went a little further? And then just maybe to the elbow. But
Okay.
that touch begins to bring it all in.
Okay.
So conversation, touch, smell, because the lotion smells good, right?
Yeah.
And remembering all those things like before.
Okay.
That's like really quick ways to get right into there without feeling like, somebody is ailing or they're helpless.
Right. Right. So, so we don't, of course, we don't have to be an expert at hand massages, right?
No, we don't.
Pressure points. We can just do the massage. Like,
Do it.
I need to practice. Can we do this? So
Yeah.
how would you do that if you're, so what if they don't want to, what if they're kind of, how sometimes, well, I mean, I even get this way. It's like, sometimes I just want to like be left alone. What if they just what if they just want to sit in the corner and observe? Is that a bad thing or is that okay?
That's okay.
Okay.
Because then when you could say when they're in the corner and just say, are you enjoying this time right now? Is it quiet time? Can you give me a time where we might just kind of, have a chat? Says, well, what about, Camilla? And she says, well, I was always curious how you're able to keep all those curls, for instance, or how you're able to, what you were able to do in your activities before.
Okay.
Were you an active person? What did you ski? Did you garden?
Okay.
Just kind of get the conversation. And then she says, that's a good idea to say, well, Grandma, what time would be really good for me to chat with you? And then just to kind of make an appointment. Because
Okay.
I would love to make a date with you. And guess what? I'll tell you what I go through. See, when Grandma can hear what Camilla goes through, that is really rich.
Okay.
It's
Yes.
a great exchange of ideas.
Yeah. So the whole idea is to just get them asking questions and having conversation.
Having conversations,
Okay.
because that brings them out of their shell. What I did with one man, Mr. T, is that I got him to talk about the Korean War and being in the trenches.
Oh, wow.
with a boy that he had to kill.
Oh.
And as he told the story, he just cried.
Oh, yeah.
And his daughters never heard that
Oh, wow.
before. Never heard that. And then when we're doing energy dances and then massage, I will say, okay, now tap your chest, tap your head, tap everywhere. And then just say, I love my life no matter what.
Yeah.
And I say, well, I want to hear you. So I love my life no matter what. And then just say, I love me. I love me. And then I say, I love you. And I said, well, say it louder because it helps your diaphragm. I love you. These daughters almost fell over crying. They never heard their dad say that ever.
Yeah.
So conversations are the fastest, quickest way back to the brain cells.
Okay.
And one thing I want to say, Jodi, is when a person becomes disabled or they really start into the aging process, nobody talks to them because they constantly repeat, or saliva comes out,
Yeah.
or they fall asleep. So they feel so complimented if somebody says, what is on your mind? Or tell me more about this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So get them interacting and, okay, get them talking. So what is a good, so I know there was, think I heard this was a couple years ago, and it was about kind of doing like family history and stuff. And somebody said
Yes.
you should record them when they're telling these stories. Is that a good idea? And do they usually like, oh, I
Perfect.
don't want that, or?
Well, first of all, I have a little journal that I give to people and download, and it starts with the icebreakers.
Okay.
So just to kind of break through all those hardened, big rocks of, crusty feelings of I'm not going to do this. And then I say, do you know that you are so special? So it's a prefacing to say, you're so special. And I call you a legendary wisdom person. And they go, oh, no, not me. And I say, you have so much wisdom in you that I know it's locked in there.
Yeah.
And the reason I know that is because you've lived 89 years, 95 years, 105 years, 107 years. Do you think you can just tell us one little thing? Oh, no. Do you think I can just photograph you? Oh, no, I have nothing like that. But when I start with those little tiny icebreakers, like the massage, and then talking about, their first kiss, and just kind of warm them up, you can't shut them up.
Okay.
And then
so
I could say,
is you have to warm them up. You can't just
warm them up.
You can't just come up and plop the recorder down in front of them and say, hold still, I'm taking your pic. You got to warm them up a little bit.
Exactly.
Okay. Woo.
Because I wouldn't do that to you or to my husband, right? My husband had to ease into some of those difficult conversations.
Exactly.
And you're the expert, Miss Harmony.
Yeah, no, that's perfect, because you wouldn't do that to your teen. Like, you wouldn't come up and just say, tell me about your whole life. I mean, you're going to get absolute silence.
Yeah. Or are you and your boyfriend going all the way? How about that? Oh, right? No.
You would, they're not going to just open up and talk to you. So you have to do the same thing that you would do with a teenager, with your spouse, with your child. I mean, little kids are different because they just talk all the time anyway, but you have to warm up. So the whole key is to do some touch, get them talking about themselves a little bit, warm them up. Perfect. So what about they're coming over for meals? I mean, the holidays are all about food. At least in the United States, they're all about food.
All about it.
Do we need to be worried about the food that we're feeding older people? And sometimes they get cranky when you ask them. And I just don't want to ask. So if I don't want to ask, then what do I do?
Yeah. So if you don't want to ask, and if they have a spouse or if they have a caregiver or, excuse me, Jodi, or even a doctor, you could ask if they have a certain diet.
Okay.
Then you don't have to ask directly.
Okay.
But otherwise, it's good not to have a lot of processed foods.
Of course.
Because that would just clog up their digestive system.
Okay.
And their elimination. And not to have a lot of salt.
Okay.
There's a lot of people who have low salt diets.
Okay.
And so it might be boring for you and others, but for the elders, it would suit them really well.
Okay, so not a lot of processed food. So cook from scratch, which is actually a really good thing that most people do that at the holidays anyway.
Exactly.
So we're good on that. But when you're cooking, you need to limit the salt. So maybe we could put the salt on the table if they want it, and then
exactly
when we're cooking. Okay, perfect.
Exactly. And another thing that's a little bit embarrassing for them is that they can't chew very well.
Right.
So you have to sort of cut the food up into smaller pieces without making them look like they're a little kid and they have to have all the food cut up.
Okay.
Just say, I'm cutting up my steak because I find that it's better for me. How about if I do it for you, Auntie, or for Mom?
Or if we're just helping them, so maybe we do it like off to the side where nobody can.
Yes.
Away and then just
off to the side.
Okay.
Exactly. And another thing is, yes, it's off to the side. And then another thing is they might not hold their fork so well, or the utensils. So it's really, really important to make sure. Sometimes there's even, like Parkinson's patients, there's forks that are just kind of curved so that we could, grip it better.
Yeah, I remember, like, one of my vivid memories of my grandpa, he had Parkinson's really bad, and I remember he was trying to make a salad, and we were at his house, and pretty soon it was like this, and then it just went flying.
Yeah.
And I can tell you this story now because both of them are passed away, but my grandma got so mad at him, and I felt so bad. I'm like, oh, Grandpa, let's just clean. I think I was probably like 12, and I just
Oh,
clean it up, but my grandma got so mad. And
yeah.
so, I think we just need to like be aware that that's okay, and food might go flying. So,
Oh, definitely. It's going to go flying. But every time something breaks or something goes flying like that, or if something falls, I always say, hallelujah.
oh, there you go.
I would say, Happy New Year. Because it breaks the energy of the room, which is all intense and focused, and you don't scold people when they spill.
Exactly.
But your grandma had other issues because she probably went through this all day long.
Oh, she was. Yeah, I'm sure she was.
Oh, poor baby.
But
Yeah, so
I'm quite older than that now, and for me to still have that very vivid memory of my grandma and grandpa was like, oh goodness.
and he was trying to do his best.
He was, but I remember him getting yelled at, and then I felt embarrassed, and I was only like 11 or 12. So here's a little secret for that then, right? If you have grandma who's probably going to have some of those challenges, you wouldn't want to set her on your brand new nice
That's right.
to have dinner. You're going to want to put her over at the table where there's the tile floor or whatever else, so it's easily cleaned up so that doesn't happen, right?
Right, Jodi. That is a great strategic positioning for your dining table.
Okay.
And let me tell you a quick story. When I was on a Japan Airlines flight, now the Japan Airlines stewardesses are totally trained for anything that happens, and they react with graciousness. So I remember one man just spilling all over the place. The stewardesses rushed up and they said, I'm so sorry. Like it was their fault, and they wiped everything up and made him feel great. And they didn't make a big issue of it, but they were the ones who somehow took the responsibility that they didn't make the portion small enough, or they didn't alert him that it was on the table or something like that. So if you can just open up the vision, like we're all in this together as a team. Sometimes you spill, which is totally natural.
Yep.
Which is why they invented sponges, and sometimes, or bibs, and sometimes, it happens, then just laugh it off and start over again and say, that's why we're here to eat together.
Exactly. So what about safety? Because I know I have some elderly parents who we have to, like, I've had to go in and take all the rugs out of their house so that they don't
Yes.
fall and stuff like that. And I know in the holidays, like, my kids are going to be here, grandma and grandpa are going to be here, babies are going to be here, everybody's here. So what do we do to kind of help, like, what do we need to do to keep the elderly safe, but at the same time, let everybody still be themselves?
Exactly. So they, at this age of ambulatory, that what we call the ambulatory stage, they can still walk, or maybe with a walker.
Right.
They might shuffle.
Yeah.
They might not be able to lift up as high as they can, but just kind of shuffle through. So if there is something like a carpet on the floor or a flower stand or a big pot, it's going to be hard for them to walk because they can't pivot as quickly.
Okay.
So if you kind of go through the routine of what they might go through from the door to the chair, to the bathroom to the wherever they're going to walk, just think of them as shuffling along, slower, and absorbing. And then if you make that visible path on the other side, you can keep it kind of cozy and comfy for your family. Because then the elderly just use that path, because they're certainly not going to jump into a sofa that just doesn't have any firm support, for instance.
Exactly.
They're always going to go for a chair with arms so that they can lift themselves up. And a chair that's more upright. So provide that and just say, that's going to be Granny's chair. So that you don't get a 10-year-old kid lying all over it or something, or sitting in it.
Okay, perfect. That's exactly what I needed to know. Okay, so the next one is, what do we do if it's just too loud?
Yeah.
What?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I know for myself, I'm so glad when everybody goes, like, I love my kids, or some of them are going to watch this, so I love you guys, I want you to come, but sometimes, like, I'm going to be glad when they're gone too. So what do we do if it's just too loud and too much for them, and they're like, I want to go home? So how do we how do we kind of work on that?
Well, from the late 60s to 70 and on, it is a fact that our hearing isn't as acute.
Okay.
So many of us have to wear earpieces.
Okay.
And the earpieces magnify the ambient noise in the room.
Okay.
So not only is it loud for people who don't have any devices, it is just like shocking for them, and they feel like they're in a tunnel.
Okay.
So what we need to do is to make sure music is toned down.
Okay.
And we're not yelling across the room for them. And then if you can have a space where it's more the chatterbox space for the teens who are going to be yelling and, you know, whooping it up if they're watching a video game,
right,
then just put grandma and grandpa to the other portion of the room so that it's quieter, and they will really appreciate it.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, my contemporaries are beginning to say, it's so loud in here, and then all of a sudden we look like old people.
Yeah. So do most of them have hearing aids though that they can adjust, or not really?
It's hard to adjust.
Okay, so we'll just need to keep it low and not play extra music if we don't have to.
Well, it's hard to adjust, but what's good about the hearing aid is it really picks up a one-to-one conversation. Right. But as soon as the whole room erupts in a lot of noise, that ambient sound really becomes very challenging. Okay. And there's really nice hearing aids that are $4,000 for two, down to $1,800 at Costco, for instance.
Right.
So even though you have the different grades of hearing aids, you still can't block out the ambient noise.
Okay.
So I would manage your environment.
Okay. So just limit the environment and don't necessarily have on the extra movie and the music if you don't need to. Okay.
Right. As an example, may I share an example? I'm going to welcome some guests this Christmas, 7 of them, and the youngest is 16 and the eldest is 80. Oh, wow. And I know that the elder ones are a little frail because they can't pop up and just jump around like the 16-year-old. Right. So I already set up a seating area for the elder with really good comfy chairs with the arms away from the TV.
Okay, perfect.
And kind of looking at the garden. But it's still in a room that's like 25 by 16.
Okay.
But it's just not right next to the television. That's, I know will be on for Netflix and all those movies.
Exactly.
But they're kind of to the side and still in the room, and they still see what's going on. But they're in their own chair. They're not in the sofa where newspapers will be around and people might be playing games and putting their feet on the coffee table. And they'll know grandma and grandpa are there, and they'll see their family, but they're away from that really loud ambient noise.
Okay, perfect. That is exactly what we needed to know.
Thank you.
And I know you were actually going on TV tomorrow, in fact.
Yes.
People, the perfect gifts to get some of our older generation people. What do they really want? Like, they already have a house full of everything, and most people have had the money. Like, if they wanted it, they got it.
Yep.
They don't really want it anymore. So what do we get them? Like, tell us, like, what do we know what to get them, especially if we want it to be a surprise and we don't want to go ask them.
I know. So it's really, really hard, but there's like 3 different types of gifts.
Okay.
There's time gifts where you just give your time.
Okay.
And then there's gifts, right? Where you just give something that you bought from Macy's or from a Target. You wrap it up. And then there's the love gifts where you just not only give your time, but you give something you cooked, for instance, that grandma knows that's very, very special, or something you made.
Okay.
Like a sweater. But I do know if you're buying a gift, they like blankets.
Okay, blankets.
And they like stuffed animals.
Okay.
I hate to say
that's not one that I would normally think of, but okay.
They love it. And I have to tell you, they clutch it till end of life.
Okay.
That's the sad part. I mean, but that's the beautiful part too.
Yeah.
Because it's cuddly.
Yeah.
So I like to give that. And in fact, I see a resident around in the wheelchair on his daily ride, and he's holding his little stuffed animal.
Okay. That was given to you by a family member.
Yes.
Okay.
And another lady who was waiting for her family to come to say goodbye to her, and they never did.
Oh.
Because of a 25-year-old spat that never got healed.
Oh.
That's why I'm doing this work, Jodi.
Yeah.
She clutched her teddy bear to the end.
Oh, that's so sad. Okay.
That's why I'm doing this work, because I thought, wow, why didn't they communicate at the end and forgive each other?
Yeah.
Because they think good riddance, but they think about this all day long. And she's off to another universe, but she's not fully released.
Yeah. So, sorry, you just got me teary-eyed there.
So the stuffed animals are really super. I can't tell you.
Okay.
Anything with that tactile touch is great. And the time gift is so good, just to spend time. Grandma, I thought long and hard about what I can get you. And the best thing for you and for me is the word gifts in time. Okay. And I'm going to spend time doing this precious legendary wisdoms journal, or I'm going to spend time and say every Saturday, once a month, I'm going to come and I'm going to spend time with you. And we're just going to do whatever you want. You want to go to the store, you want to sit here, you want to massage, you want to make a recipe of one of your favorite recipes. You could be like the astronaut and just tell me what to do, and I will do it here on Earth.
That's awesome.
We did that with somebody's apple pie.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. I said, if you have a spaceship in the air, and you have these guys in Houston telling the spaceship what to do, and you're telling these other people in Boston, they're not actually driving it, but somebody else is. Her name was Elaine. She did her apple banana recipe, and we made the pie, and she directed us. She tasted it. She never touched it, but it was her pie.
That is awesome.
So it was a remote pie that she could do, but we called it Elaine's pie.
So we could actually do that. I mean, that gives me a really good idea. Like, if we can't be near our family members, we could do Zoom, because Zoom is free.
Yes.
Zoom is free.
FaceTime, Skype, all of it.
Yeah, it's all free. You could do Facebook as well, has FaceTime, and you could cook one of their recipes, pull them in, play a game with them, get them involved, get them talking. So if you're not there, you can pull this in and do this. But if we made one of their favorite recipes, that would make it very special. It
was so special, because when it was baking, can you imagine? Everybody said, Elaine, it smells so good. But they made it. Oh, but Elaine was watching. But it was her recipe. She's the one who said it was not enough salt. And she wanted more butter pats on the top. But then when we baked it, the smell went through the whole house. We tasted it, and we kept saying, oh, Elaine, this tastes so wonderful.
That is awesome. So if we wanted to set that up with, like, if they had an iPad at the care home, you could, as a caretaker, you could go set it up for them, and they could instruct their family who's far away. What an amazing gift. Like, I love that out of everything that you just said. That is my very favorite.
Well, my mother-in-law was a fabulous cook. And at the end, her very good friends, Bob and Ida Ray, were in Chicago. And they couldn't be bedside.
Yeah.
And they wanted to be so badly. They called every day, just as she kind of deteriorated and she couldn't hear, and she called every day. And then they made her beautiful sponge cake. And they'd show her, what do you think of this, Tita? And she'd say, it's not high enough. The next day they'd make another one, and they'd make another one.
So cute.
And they'd cut it open, and then you could see the air bubbles and how the texture was. If it was too much over whipping, then there'd be big pockets. So then she was over on her bed directing them in Chicago about the recipe.
Oh, that's we have technology. How amazing. Wow. Okay. So even if your loved one doesn't have an iPad and their caretaker doesn't know how to do this, we could still figure it out by sending a teen over there and figuring it out. So I think
Exactly.
I might just get my mother-in-law an iPad and pay somebody, a teenager that lives close by that does their lawn, to go over and set it up for them.
Yeah.
I love you. Thank you. That's like the perfect.
But then what about an iPhone? FaceTime is so fabulous now.
Yeah, they don't have an iPhone. I'm just thinking
Oh,
like
they don't have iPhones.
iPad
Yeah.
so you can see it better.
Yeah. We have iPads.
Yeah.
And I know that in Vancouver there's a project called Cyber Seniors.
Oh.
So they're learning how to do website design.
Oh, wow.
And last night with Ted, his name is Ted, nothing embarrassing about this, who's going to Chicago next month. He does email to his daughter in Boston, his granddaughter in LA, his sister in Houston.
Okay.
So we should not limit them just because of their age.
Yes.
If they get a really cheap computer, maybe they can start a new little career. I have this one man, his family had to stop him from buying things on QVC.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was buying every day.
I can see that happening. Yeah. So just keep an edge on it. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Annette. I'm so glad for all of these gifts, and I'm so excited. Like, I'm actually going to go and get an iPad and send it to my mother-in-law.
Oh, thank you.
So excited.
I hope I helped you. But the one thing I have to tell people is to remember the caregiver. Because 70% of those over 70 years old who are caring for their loved ones will die before their loved ones.
Oh, wow.
And
Wait,
Alzheimer's.
One more time.
Okay, so I'm 71.
Okay.
If I happen to be caring for a loved one and I'm over 70 years old, the statistic by Cleveland Clinic, Alzheimer's Association, is 70% of those caring for others over 70 years old will die before their loved ones.
So that means if you've got a husband and wife and one is caring for the other, that one who's being the caretaker will probably pass away before the other because of the added stress.
Stress, sadness,
Wow.
Constantly cleaning up the diapers, washing the sheets, getting yelled at because nobody likes to eat. They don't like the way the label feels on their shirt. You did it again. I tell you, Jodi, it's ugly because there's rage Alzheimer's, rage dementia. So your little family unit catering to your grandma and grandpa have to be braced, helmeted, seat belted to go into this, because anything goes when the elder responds. And they could be ugly because they're lonely, they are sad, they're angry.
Yeah.
They hate being locked up in a wheelchair or wearing diapers. So caregivers need CPR, care, prayer, and relief.
So what can we do for the caregiver then? Because I do have family members in that situation. So what do we need so we talked about the elderly, but what about this caregiver who's probably going to actually get a day off because they come to my house for the day?
Yeah, I know. So
what can we do for them?
Immediately they can, it's free, but they can go to my website for a CPR class and immediately learn how to change their mindset, do different things to take action, and give themselves staycations, give themselves a break. Look at it like there's not a broken record from their elders, but just to say, this is my time with them. It's not going to last forever. And start taking care of their energy, their physical self, and start spending money to have somebody come in to take one shift, to go get a massage, to get a mani-pedi, to get a day off, to go to daycare once a month, whatever it is, Jodi. It's an epidemic. The caregivers are in a syndrome where if they don't care for themselves, they will die.
Wow. I mean, I knew that it was very taxing. I just never, I guess I personally just didn't think of that. So you have some sources there, and I will post those down for our listeners who are
It's right on my website, right?
Okay, I'll post that down here so you can get that. But
And it's free. It's completely free, no cost.
Okay, so we need to give them extra love and care then. I mean, they kind of get left to the side because everybody's focused on the older person, which I just did for the last hour.
Totally. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because it's the baby boomers who want to really go now on all their vacations, and now they have to stay home because there's elderly to take care of. So one foot is on the gas and the other foot on the brake.
Yeah, it's kind of like me. Like I'm kind of like at the end of the baby boomers because my parents are just getting there, but I'm the sandwich generation, right? Like I'm still helping my kids, and now I'm going to be helping my parents, and I'm squished in the middle, and here goes the pressure, right?
Here goes, and it's all like mayo and mustard. I mean, it's like, it's aggravating. And then they get totally shingles, number one.
Okay.
Bowel movement problems. They can't sleep. Heart palpitations. I had one caregiver, the doctor forbid her from coming to visit her mother.
Oh, wow.
Said your aneurysm is going to pop.
Oh, goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So remember the caregiver.
Okay.
Sorry to bring this up, but I
know that. So maybe the gift that we need to give the caregiver is your little CPR course that you have that will help them dive back into themselves and take care of themselves a little bit, because that's, I didn't even think about that. I'm so sorry.
No, it's the Alzheimer's Association says 60% of caregivers will end up in the hospital before their loved ones. 60%.
Wow. Those are horrific numbers.
Because you see, once the people are elderly, they're almost moving in and out of the perception, right? That stage and dimension. And then somebody's caring for them. They're not going to be left in soiled clothing, and sheets are going to be changed. Right. But who's doing all that back-breaking work?
Yeah.
And they're seeing sometimes they have to fish in their own money because there's not enough that was saved. Yes. And they're emotionally drained.
Yeah.
They would love to go visit and watch their daughter give birth, for instance, or be with their husband to go take a vacation, a juicy vacation with, like your program would state. Or they just want to take a day off and then just do their gardening. But there's like, oh gosh, I got to make dinner for mom. Oh, I got to take her to the doctor, PT. Oh no, she fell off the bed again. I got to spend the night. It's like crazy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I didn't even think about it. I mean, I thought about it, but I didn't really think about it. I guess because I'm not quite there yet. Like,
yeah,
that will be here in about 5 years, probably.
Yes.
Hopefully. Yeah, I'll be there in about 5 years. So
yeah.
Hi.
And it's good to plan now, because if the baby boomers, especially, who are 71 years, born between 64 and 1946, they especially need to know and brace for what is happening. Otherwise, they're going to be miserable.
Okay.
And then they will have early premature deaths that they did not plan for.
So I know, we're supposed to be happy about holidays here, but we're going to go with this. So me preparing for this, that's coming, either it's coming soon because I have parents around that, in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
So, what do I need to do to prepare?
So what you need to do to prepare is do your lists and everything like that, but always check in with how you're feeling.
Okay.
And I use a system called Wi-Fi. You watch, you imagine, you feel, and you intuit. So you watch yourself, say, oh, Jodi, I'm falling apart. I didn't get enough sleep. I was stuffing the turkey. I was washing all the silverware, whatever you're doing. Okay. And then just say, I know that I'm at my breaking point. I got to do something right now. Just blow off steam, run on the beach. Well, I'm in Hawaii. Do whatever. Ask for a shoulder massage. Ask for somebody to hire a gopher to help you.
Okay.
But watch what's happening to yourself. Then imagine, say, I imagine I'm getting really flustered because I'm going to be seeing my sister-in-law, or I'm going to be seeing so-and-so. And they're always critical about how I make the turkey or how I make the stuffing. And so that emotion just adds on to the actual facts. Exactly. So it's the emotional stuff. So you imagine why you might be feeling that way. Oh, I imagine so-and-so is not going to talk to so-and-so because they lost money together in a business deal.
Right.
Or I imagine that Camilla will probably not want to sit too long with grandma because she's going to have her new boyfriend here or whatever it is.
Right.
Then just say, I feel really at a loss.
Right.
Or I feel victorious because I know how to manage it this year. Or I feel really angry and I think I need to talk to Camilla to prepare.
Okay.
And then you say, I intuit that people aren't quite ready, that they don't know what I'm going through. I don't know what they're going through in caregiving. And I intuit that we need to have a powwow, a family meeting to begin to air it out, to share what's happening. And Jodi, I can't tell you, the onset of aging, ailing, and dying is the highest level of being in the entire world for a person, because it is transformation.
Yeah.
It is facing that dragon. It is challenging to all that you are and you will be. So the best thing is to be prepared.
Okay. All right.
Did this help you?
Yes, I'm going to actually pull that up, and you have free resources on your website for us, right?
It's all in that CPR class. It's all free.
Thank you so much. I am going to go and download that, and I'm going to send it out to all of my siblings and all of my husband's siblings. And we're going to work on that. And I think it's really important that we actually think about that now. I mean, we have been thinking about it, but nobody's really talking about it yet.
It's now.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're all just worried. But I think now, if you've given us the tools, then we don't have to be scared. We can just go in feeling empowered.
It's now. It's now. And
wow, there's just so much to think about. I think at least for me, like, I know it's looming and it's coming, but I just haven't wanted to, because I'm so busy, that I think I just was hoping it would go away, but it's not going to go away. It's not going to go away. I just admitted that out there in the public. It's not going to go away. It's actually going to hit, and we won't be ready if we don't do it now.
I so appreciate your honesty, Jodi, because it will happen. It's not a matter of if, but when.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Lots of things. Okay, well, thank you, Annette, so much for coming here with us. And I think you and I should do a couple more of these, not just for me, because I think there's so many people who need this. And I'm also worried that, because if this does happen and my husband and I end up taking someone in and caring for them, what's going to happen to our relationship and things like that. And so I think that's like a whole nother big, long, huge conversation, but I think that we need to be ready for that. And I would not want that to destroy our relationship that we've worked so hard.
I know. Yeah, we're so hard. I have this lady named Karen, and she drove 4 hours every weekend to relieve her sister, to take care of mother. And then her husband kept saying, go ahead, you're doing a good thing. Then he said, why isn't your brother helping out? And she now had to juggle her mother, her sister, and her husband.
Oh, yeah.
So she felt guilty all the way around.
Yeah.
Because 5 days were with sister, mother, 2 days off with her husband. It was like he got home from work and he was ready to play and have fun with her. It was like total stress. Mother died, but now she went into major surgery. She gained 30 pounds.
Oh, goodness.
She is herself a basket case.
Yeah.
Because the communication wasn't set up for what ifs. What about this? What about the money? What about the logistics of an extra room?
Right. Oh, gosh.
I think, Jodi, I'm one of I think I'm the only one in this world, because I'm checking other websites, doing this. And I would love to work with you, because the husband and wife team are going to be afflicted immediately. And that has nothing to do with their relationship. It has all to do with external factors.
Oh, yeah.
Pushing.
Oh, yeah. Just like huge.
And what's going to help is, after you go through this, then you'll personalize it for what happens to you.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, we're going to do that. Like,
Okay.
we're going to build a course together because
No, we are.
I know that I am just like, I have goosebumps. I'm like, I really have to do this because it's looming. Like, it really is just like looming right here. And I have friends who have already gone through it, and I have friends who are younger than me and not there yet, but I'm just like, wow, you know? So,
And I have one very good friend in Seattle. She says, I cannot talk to my siblings. Mom's gone, dad's gone, and we only talk through the attorney.
oh, yeah, but I mean, I already have siblings who don't really talk about me. So if they watch this, love you guys, but you don't really talk to me anyway. So there we go. So
That's where we can help.
yeah, exactly.
Because we don't have to be friends.
Here I am, the relation. I'm known as the peace giver in my family, and
I'm sure you are.
so everybody will come and talk to me and tell me about their life and tell me about their problems, but then they're like, well, don't tell everybody else. So I'm
Yeah.
the peace giver, and I think, you know, I think I got that when I was younger because
Yeah.
you know, I just always was the peacekeeper. And now even in my own family, between my kids and, you know, I'm just the peacekeeper. And that's what I do. I bring peace to every relationship. But there's still just sometimes where people don't want to talk to each other, but they'll talk to me, and then I at least know they're safe, and I can let everybody else know they're safe.
Exactly. Well, you're the confidant, number one.
Yeah.
You're the peacekeeper, but you cannot be the responsible party.
Yeah.
In the transformation process, everybody starts absorbing accountability and responsibility for whatever they can handle.
Exactly.
And I'm not sure if you still have this on recording, but may I leave you with one thought?
Yes, definitely.
What I do is hold up the hand and I say to the family members, this is your mom and dad.
Yep.
And their ancestors. And here's Jodi, Camilla, husband, sister, whoever. Does anybody look alike?
Yeah.
We act differently.
Yeah.
We have strengths and weaknesses, right? The thumb works better than the baby.
Yeah.
And this is our family. So how are we going to get along to honor not only mom and dad, but we're going to continue down in the future, up in the future.
Yeah.
And if we crash and burn it, what happens to the legacy that your parents worked so hard to set up?
Exactly.
And your grandparents and you.
Yeah.
It's worth every ounce for people out there to work with coaches like us.
Yeah, I so agree. Because relationships is what it's all about. I mean, you're not going to have anything else. You have each other, you have the relationships that you've built, you have just the love and the trust. And if you don't have that, then you're not going to be happy.
And you can be totally disruptive. Look at the recent shootings in America.
Yeah.
All to do with relationships.
Yep.
Went in to find the mother-in-law in a church. Had an argument with the wife.
Yep.
I mean, it's the emotions and the relationships.
Yep.
How are we going to change this paradigm shift, Jodi?
Yeah.
We got to do it.
We have to do it. We have to. Okay, well, Annette, thank you so much for being
Hugs.
here today. I'm going to post links down for all of our listeners. I'm so glad that you are here joining us on our relationship restoration process. Stay tuned. There's more coming. And if you feel like you are in this sandwich that possibly some of us are getting in, or just need to give extra love and support to your elderlies that are coming in and visiting this holiday season, make sure you tune in, share it with your family, share it with your friends. And my name is Jodi Harman, and this is Annette Pang, and we are so glad you're here to join us today, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you, Jodi.